Hi, and welcome to episode 4 of the Rainbow Six Pro League podcast. My name's Dashi. Unfortunately, Dante can't be with us tonight, but we still have our special guest with us tonight, Syntax.
Hello.
So, got a bit of news to cover this episode, but we'll get onto that later on. First of all, I want to go introduce Syntax and see what, and talk to him a little bit. So, quickly, tell us about yourself. Where'd you come from? What roles do you play in like the Siege and
Um,
stuff?
I guess backgrounds of video games. I originally started playing FPSs when I was like really, really young, but didn't start thinking about them like seriously until I started playing Counter Strike. And not long after that, I started playing Siege back when it was like in a closed beta. And yeah, and then I guess like where I'm from the U.S., central U.S., Kansas.
Okay.
Um, and I guess my role is I play smoke mainly, smoke, and then a support flex on attack, which is
Yeah.
more like Habana and Thermite.
Yeah. You're a man after my own heart. I mean, smoking thermite, so.
Yeah, I love it.
uh, yeah, that's great because that's exactly what I play. Smoking thermite. I don't really, never really got into Habana. I didn't like her gun, but smoking thermite, I'll play all day long. Um,
Yep.
so thank you very much. So, what made you start playing? Start as a player and trying to go from into professional and well, the professional, trying to competitive, etc.
I guess I started taking Siege seriously. I think it was around the end of Blood Orchid,
Yeah.
and yeah, or not Blood Orchid. Red Crow. Sorry, Red Crow.
Oh, it's about a year ago then. Yeah.
Yeah, just about a year. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Um, and so, what made you sort of decide to go into the sort of competitive side of it rather than just playing casually?
Um, I really, really enjoy this game, like almost more than any other game I've ever played. And I guess the biggest thing was the people that I started playing competitively with. I really enjoyed them as people. They were good friends, and they were really good at the game. So yeah, that's probably the biggest reason right there.
Yeah, it makes sense to sort of try and take it to the next level. Um,
hmm
so, right, what do you do as a player to remain competitive in what you do? Obviously you're playing in competitions and stuff. So, what keeps you competitive?
Um, I guess for me, the thing that keeps me the most competitive is since I like to since I'm the IGL.
Okay,
Watching a lot of demos and reviewing strats and always thinking of new strats, going over new things is important. Talking to the team, and then also along with that, being just any player in general. Scrims are important, practices are important, and then just matches and taking everything seriously. Yeah.
okay, cool. So what team do you play under? What's your team's name then?
My current team is named Aerial Arise.
Okay,
Um, yeah.
okay. Um, well, how did you end up in this team? Is this the team you said you started with your friends and stuff?
No, that was the team that I started like playing with my friends was leftovers from a team named Not Yet Labeled, which currently is coming back up again through a different roster. But this one, I guess I stopped playing for maybe a month or so,
Yeah.
and I wanted to get back into it. So guess it's just networking kind of, and I started talking to new people, and found or felt that these guys were had a lot of potential. So I started playing with them, and I guess we are where we are now.
Okay. Um, what level does your team currently play at? What kind of leagues are you playing in?
Right now we are only playing Go Fours and ESA, but in the next seasons of the respective tournaments, we plan to play in hopefully CCS and IEL.
Yeah, well, we had the CEO of IEL on last week. Funny enough, he's talking
hmm
about their getting their competitions back up and running. So
hmm
that's good news for you.
I think it's a really good competition and fun that we have. Just a lot of competition open to us to play. It's really good for the competitive side.
There is a lot of competition out there if you look for it. Yeah, so like your Go Force and stuff. I know
hmm
it's not necessarily because obviously anyone can join it, so it's not necessarily always the most competitive. Sometimes you can get
hmm
played against lower teams, but it does keep you in that sort of mind frame because most of these competitions, as you well know, all sort of play similar rules, so it keeps you in that mind frame.
Yeah.
Instead of
hmm
just practicing on ranked and then realizing, oh wait, I no longer have points. I got I've got to play extra rounds. I suppose that
Hmm.
keeps you in that sort of mind frame.
Yeah, and I think it's really good, especially with the extra leagues. You're playing sometimes three and then 3 games a week on top of the Go Fours, and it's a lot of fun.
That's a lot of fun. It's also a lot of kind of time being thrown into leagues.
Yeah.
It's quite good
Hmm.
though. So that kind of leads on to the next question: is like, what do your team do outside of these leagues then to try and bring yourself to the next level of competition? Help yourself prepare for these competitions.
Outside of the leagues, but inside of the game, we practice a lot and scrim a lot, go over new strats, and like take a look at our strats and then look at it from the other team's point of view. Like, oh, where could they go into these strats? What would counter these strats? Stuff like that. And I think another important thing is outside of the game, we occasionally play games together, just talk a lot, have fun, and I guess like each other as people. Because I feel that's just important as skill as the team chemistry.
Yeah, you hear a lot of the casters talk about team synergy, and that's exactly, I suppose, what you're saying there.
Hmm.
Having that team synergy is almost as important as having strats. You know,
Yep.
if you aren't going to be able to listen to each other and respect each other, you're going to execute your strats well.
Yeah. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. So you're saying about scrims there. Do you have just a quick one? Do you have scrim partners, or do you go into the likes of these Discord servers and Reddit spaces and actually just try and seek out a team on the night?
Um, lately we had previously two scrum partners, but lately we've kind of broken away from that because our schedules have gotten kind of a little bit all over the place. So we've just been trying to find them on the spot, which has surprisingly worked pretty well. But yeah,
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Just to, where would you go for these to find these people? Just to try and give anyone that's new to this trying to get into it, or they could find teams to scrim
to find like scrim partners or just on the spot scrims.
on the spot scrims, I suppose, because scrim
Oh,
partners would sort of come over time after playing with them a
yeah,
couple of times.
yeah. To find just on the spot scrims for us, we just go the CCS Discord, the ESA Discord, and the IEL Discord. See somebody that says LFS looking for scrim, you just
Yeah,
message them. Or if we know that there's a 5-man team, like one of the teams that we played with or played against before, we go ahead and message their captain. And yeah, so I guess an important part is just being in a lot of Discords, or just knowing a lot of people.
yeah. It comes back to what you were saying earlier about keeping your network and networking
Hmm.
around. You know how you get onto
Hmm.
that team, making
Yeah.
yourself out there to be known. Yeah,
Yep, I think that's one of the most important parts about the competitive siege because, like, if you look at a lot of teams, sometimes you might see players that aren't the greatest, but if they're good people, they work well with the team, and they have good networking skills, you can get almost anywhere.
yeah, agreed. Because we had that a lot back. My competitive history, for those of you who don't know, I played a lot of competitive on Xbox. I haven't played competitive PC since I moved over. I've only moved over to PC about, what was it, about 3 months ago. Um,
Hmm.
but I played competitively on Xbox through the likes of the Go Fours, the UK. They had a big UK Go For there,
Yeah,
um, and all that. So we would play a
yeah,
lot of that, and obviously we would meet teams like yourself, and then we would keep them on our friends list message. Um,
yeah,
that was quite good.
yeah. I think a lot of the most talented players I know have come over from Xbox. If you like, if you go through, there's a lot of pro teams that have Xbox players. It's really interesting to look at.
Yeah, exactly. You come to look at like some Elevate, was Supremacy as well.
Hmm.
I think there's a couple of the teams that, as you say, have one or two Xbox players on them.
Yeah, I remember when they canceled the Xbox Pro League. I remember everybody on PC was saying, "Oh, Elevate's not going to be good. They're going to go out really really quick," and they come in and just, I mean, for lack of better words, absolutely smack everybody. It feels like,
Yeah, I think the
and
first
it's.
game they lost the first game to
Hmm.
Continuum, I think it was,
Hmm.
um, and then in the same bracket they played them again and brought them to the exact same map and went, "We're going to redo this," and as you say,
Yeah.
they smacked it. You
Yep.
know. Um. So, what does your team? So, what do you and your team aspire to do next in the next few months, years?
Um, I guess looking ahead, the most important thing for us is the CCS. Um, and that will help us like get more respect as a team, get more notice as players in a team. And then for me in the future, Challenger League, hopefully, and then I guess in the far, far future, maybe Pro League. But I guess we'll look at that when we get there. You know.
That's it. Take each bridge as it comes, but it's always nice to have that in your back
Hmm.
of your head to say, well, this is where we want to get to, and this is how
Hmm.
we get there.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, I wish you all the best with that. Well, someday I'll have you back on the show as a pro league player.
That would be
Any,
amazing.
it would be. Any success? If you got any successful stories like wins over players that are now competing at higher levels, or have you won any of your previous leagues that you've been a part of?
Yeah. So I guess the biggest successful story that I can think of is when I was playing on a different team, we we were scrim partners with World's Best Gaming, a
Okay.
pro league team back when they were in pro league. And I remember taking maps and just quite a few rounds off them was really really big to us since we weren't even in CL and they were a pro league team, which was really cool.
Yeah, that'd be a bit heartwarming to know your strats were working against a pro league team.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes pro teams forget that, and sometimes people, even lower teams, forget about this about pro teams is they're used to playing in their pro meta. That
Hmm.
a team that's come from out of nowhere, certainly similar to yourselves, um, may have something completely unique to offer, and it just
Yeah.
completely destroy them. So it's quite good to see.
Yeah. I think like a good recent example of that is the Reckless going really far in the invitational bracket, even making it to the finals. Just
Yeah, yeah, they did very well.
hmm
So, quick one on just in your thoughts. What would you do to improve the competitive side of Siege? You can do in and out of the game, So, what would you do inside the game to make it more competitive, and what would you do outside of the game, certain leagues, etc.?
inside of the game, I think something that would really improve it is changing the way that ranked works. That would be a big like boost to the game, and like adding the same amount of rounds, the same way that the bomb sites work as the ESL rule set in ranked, and then I guess that's really all I can think of for in the game. But out of the game, more lands, especially in NA and the US. I don't know. I can't really speak for Europe, but I know there's a lack of lands really in North America,
Well,
which would
yeah, you look at the last three big lands this year. Or last year, I suppose. Year one was in Poland, which is Europe. Year two was, or season two was in Germany, again Europe, and then season three was in Brazil. Yeah, it's Latin America, so there was nothing there for North America.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And then the only other big land that I could think of was the Nordic League, um,
Mhm.
that Ents and stuff took a part of. And again, that's in the Nordic countries, so Finland, Sweden, together.
Yep.
So again, Europe. So
Yeah.
yeah, bringing lands and things together to the masses, which is something we'll talk about in a minute. Um, would be good. The other thing you were touching on there was about ranked and being more like ESL. Now, this is something that I actually agree with. Some people may not. Do you think
Yeah.
it would be? This is something that I've sort of hemmed and had about. So, just want to get your thoughts on it. Would you like to have it as a separate game mode, so you'd have like casual, ranked, and then competitive, or would you have just ranked be straight up like ESL?
I would want the three different game modes, but I think that would be great. But in my opinion, that might split the player base even more than it already is. Because at least for me, I spend sometimes 4 or 5, like 4 minutes on average finding a game, which is pretty annoying. So if it's split even more, it might make it harder. But yeah, I guess it'd be
Yeah,
interesting to see.
yeah, I found that. So the higher you go up the ranks now, I'm not too high myself at the moment on PC. I'm only plat 3, but I noticed on Xbox and stuff as we got higher up the ranks, the longer the wait times became. Even watching
Hmm.
some of the pro players stream ranked games, you could see them wait 5-10 minutes at diamond level
Yeah.
trying to get a game. So yeah, I suppose it makes a good point. Um, change it to ESL settings. It's not that far different than what ranked is at the moment. So I mean, yeah, I suppose I would go with you on that one. Just change ranked into ESL settings.
Yeah.
Allow all three game modes to be played, but obviously, um, still have the option to turn them on and off the way we do at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Um, last question for you then. Is there any advice you'd like to give to new players wanting to start taking off their careers as competitive gamers? Try and take their ranked from just playing ranked games to being into taking leagues on and stuff. What kind of advice would you give to them?
I guess one of the biggest things is learn to play a lot of ops. Because if you want to get on a team, what they're looking for is like it's hard if you're just say an Ash Ella main. It's hard to find a team that just wants or that wants an Ash Ella main. You might be searching, but if you can play every single op, you can go for almost any team out there, which is an important thing. And then it just work really really hard, spend time, and be serious about it. And I think you can get anywhere.
Yeah, and it's a good point on that one. From experience I know from people, getting on as a sub to a team. So likes of I don't know, formerly Snook and knows formerly playing Ducks, taking on Leon Gids as a sub. He's now been brought into the main team. They benched Snooken in order to bring him into the main team, and
Hmm.
he wouldn't have been brought on as a sub if he didn't know how to play all these different characters. Because as a sub, as I'm sure you'll be well aware, when you're looking for a sub for your team, you're looking for someone that can fill any person's role on that team at a moment's
Yeah.
notice. You know,
Yep. Yep.
that's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty sound advice. I'd agree with that. So, moving on, we've got some news in the Pro League and stuff coming up, but just a quick one while it's in my head. Have you got any sort of picks for the invites? We went over this last week with who I personally think is going to win each group and who I think overall is going to win. But what do you
Yeah.
think? Who do you think overall is going to win it?
Okay, so I have the groups and whatever pulled up in the first round matches, and
Okay.
for Group One, I have Penta and Evil Geniuses getting out.
Yeah. Okay. I agree with that.
Obviously Penta because they're Penta, and then EG because they're EG. Really, I guess is the biggest thing. They've got a lot of skill, and I just think they outclass the other two teams. Um, for Group Two, I have Liquid and Room Factory. Uh, I have Room Factory over Rogue just because watching a lot of NA Pro League, I just don't think Rogue can really pull it out. But I wouldn't be surprised if they win, but if they go out. But I just think Room Factory will have it over them. And then Liquid, just because Liquid's, I think Latin America is looking really, really strong. And
Yeah.
yeah. And
Okay.
then Group Three, I have Black Dragons. And then I don't think Elevate will really get out. I just don't think they have the
Yeah.
class to play right now. The class to play against the other two teams, but so I have Supremacy and yeah, I'm not really sure on that one.
Yeah.
And then for group four, I have 100% Phase and Ents there. I from watching Era play, I think they're a really strong team. I just don't think that they're anywhere near the class of Ents or Phase right now. And then same thing with Eins. I don't. Yeah, currently I don't think very highly of the North American scene, but it could change.
Yeah. It's been evident this year. I mean, European leagues have our European teams have won all three LAN events.
Hmm.
Um, I think was it season three. Both North American teams were out within the first round.
Yeah.
None of them made
I
it to the
think so.
finals
Yeah, 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 yeah.
because the finals ended up being played against Ensign Penta, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, it was Ensign Penta.
So that's that. Yeah, NA scene it seems to have been lacking this year. I don't know what it is, but hopefully they've on the off season they've managed to bring it back and prove us all wrong.
Hmm. So speaking on that, I think if you look at how the APAC is run, they've got the different regions. They've got like a pro league for each one of the regions, and they have their region or the like area land, the Asia
Yeah, yeah,
Pacific land. I think that would be really cool if they put that into effect in Europe and North America, and even Brazil or Latin America. Even though it would bring a lot of teams that aren't as good in, I think it would give a lot of teams a chance to play up against better teams and grow the scene even more with a lot more competitive games. But
And what way would you split likes of North America? Would you just go um, East, Mid, and West, or
yeah, yeah, that's what I would do.
okay, that's a pretty good there. Um, I kind of like that because it would usually say bring more teams in. It would bring more competition to our screens
Hmm.
for a start.
Yeah,
As as a fan, obviously I'm not a player. As a fan, I'm watching a lot of this. I mean, in the off season when there's no pro league on, I don't know what to be doing.
yeah.
I enjoy watching it that much. So no, yeah, I could go with that. So, what's your thoughts on the teams that have made it through so far? Is there any teams you feel that maybe don't deserve to be there? Forgetting about
Um,
the invited teams because well, there was a lot of controversy on that anyway.
I'm just gonna say preface this with I don't have anything against any of the players on this team. I just don't think Era are the strongest team out of North America that could have gone. But I guess they did make it through. They did
Yeah.
go, so they deserve it. I just don't feel that they're a very strong competition in the LAN, but that's to be seen at LAN, I guess.
And was there any teams that didn't make it through that you thought should have?
Um, Not really. I mean, I didn't really watch the much of the European or anything but the North America,
Yeah, yeah.
but not really from North America. So
Only the one in North America that I was really surprised about was Flipside. I really, really wanted to see
mhm.
Flipside get through, but them having not really
Yeah,
performed throughout year two as well as I would like. Um, I suppose it's not surprising, and that was just one, if you know what I mean.
yeah, yeah.
I have a lot of love for the likes of Man and stuff, and the actual Flipside team.
Hmm. I guess the one team that I would have liked to see go through was the oh, I'm blanking out on the name, but it was the community vote for the Brazilian or the
BRK.
lad, yeah, BRK, yes. It would have been interesting to see them go through over its Vitality,
Yes, it was
correct?
Vitality got it.
Um, I think that BRK is a stronger team, and I'm glad that they will be in the show match, which I think, yeah,
Yeah, we have news
yeah.
on that.
Hmm.
Which for those of you who don't know, we'll just spoil it for you, but sure, not the problem. Um, so moving on, then we'll go to the news and stuff because there isn't really much to talk about in invitationals. We've kind of killed it to death over the last 3 or 4 weeks, and there's obviously been no real big news on invitationals itself this week. But
Hmm.
there has been some big news on pro leagues. Um,
Yeah.
I'll bring up my feed. So obviously, this on Monday night, I think it was 23rd. Was it Monday? 23rd was Monday night, wasn't it? No,
I
Tuesday
think
night.
so.
Tuesday night.
Tuesday, yeah.
It was the day after we put out our last podcast. I remember giving off at Stephen because I just released the podcast and well, this new. But obviously, the pro leagues. Long and short of this here, pro league is changing.
Hmm.
And I have a better image that will show it here. Is this image?
Yeah.
Um, Quickly explain to people. So pretty much season 7. So this will be right after invitationals, March to May. They're going to have a very very short pro league season. It'll probably be very jam packed trying to get them. But that's their plan. Is just to have a regular, very shortly packed pro league season, and
Yeah.
then moving on to season 8 and season 9, which will start straight after. They plan to have 6 month long competition. I believe it's still 8 teams, but they're going to do a double round robin. For those who don't know what double round robin is, every team will play every team twice, a bit like what they did year one. Only in year one, if you remember, they played both maps on the same night. Where this time
Hmm.
it's not going to be both maps on the same night. They're only going to play one map, right?
Yeah.
Which a lot of people are giving off because it's the best of one. Um, I don't know. I kind of like the idea of them having this round robin league format because the other format it wasn't a league. You
Yeah.
know, it was
Yeah.
a
Yeah. Yeah.
double elimination competition. It wasn't a league. Um, this is actually like a proper league again. The best
Yeah.
of one. The rumor is it hasn't been fully confirmed yet, but the rumor is that they're going to actually extend win. Um, where currently it's like the first to 5 ones.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Overtime, first to 6, or first to 6. I think now it's going to be like a first to 9 possibly wins. I don't know. That's what I've been told. That they're going to try and
Hmm.
make it longer. They want each game to last in around an hour. So you're still getting your 2 hours worth of games a night. So as a
Yeah.
viewer, we're not losing out on games. Um, but in the middle of all that, so at the end of each season, that'll be both season 8 and season 9. At the end of each season, they'll have their LAN events as they always do. But big thing they announced was another major. So we've got the sixth invitational major, which is already happening soon. But they've confirmed another one for next year. And in August this year, there's going to be a major in Paris. Take place in the middle of the season. Um, so we'll talk about that in a second. And then there's going to be a few minor competitions, which apparently DreamHack in North America. You were talking about needing more North America lands. DreamHack in North America is going to be one of them. They haven't
Hmm.
confirmed which one because I know there's usually two. Haven't confirmed which one, but it's probably it's most likely going to be. So, what's your thoughts on this new seasonal format?
hmm I just like to focus on the minors real quick first,
Yeah,
is
yeah, go on ahead.
because when I heard this, I was super excited because I was looking through and then I saw the minors and then I scrolled around to the bottom and I saw including DreamHack events, and I think this is a great step because there was the DreamHack, I believe it was a DreamHack event in Europe, if I'm not
Y-
mistaken.
Yeah, there was the Nordic Championship that took place. Yeah, it was a DreamHack.
Yeah, and I've been to the DreamHack Austin event in Texas and played the Open CS:GO tournament, and just the environment at DreamHack and everything that goes on there is amazing. I absolutely love it, and I think it's a great just great thing for Counter Strike or for sorry for Rainbow, and the way to make it even better than it already is.
Yeah, get it to more people. I
Mhm.
mean, I think the minor is going to involve a lot of the pro teams as well as try and get new teams in. So the way someone was trying to explain to me that the way they think DreamHack will work is they might have like four invited teams and four teams that make their way in through maybe an online qualifier,
Yep.
and then it'll be those eight teams playing against each other, which would be very cool.
hmm
Yeah,
And then looking at the Pro League, from what I heard, the at least I know Challenger League was supposed to be played at like the second half of each season,
yeah,
which
that's what I
is
read.
interesting. And then the way that the Pro League's going to work, I think is really interesting. And if, as you said, the way that the rounds, if it goes to best of nine or first to nine, um, that would be really interesting because I think it changed the entire meta in the way of Pro League, like in the way that teams ban maps and map pools. Because if you're only going to be playing really one map, then I think that would change a lot and make teams focus on expanding their map pool a lot more.
Yeah, exactly. Because they might have it. There's no point in having it drilled down to one map, and then that's the first ban of your opposing team. Um,
Yep.
Especially if they start talking to scrim partners, or they maybe are your scrim partner. They're going to know this. I
Yep.
think they might. Apparently, there's more news to come on this. I don't know how much more. Probably fine details, but I wonder if they're going to change the map ban system, um, into like a ban and protect, where you'd ban maybe one or two. And because obviously there's nine maps, so that's four bans. That's what, yeah, quick math, four bans each. The way we were talking about it is maybe like ban two each, save one each, ban,
hmm
um, ban one each, and then that leaves three maps: the two that are saved, and the one random one, and then the map is chosen at random out of those three. So you
hmm
can't really predict exactly what it's going to be that you're going to end up on. Because I know you've done it yourself, but on Go for Cups, we could almost predict what map we were going to play on. You'd watch the
Yeah.
bands
Yeah.
and you'd have your own bands, what you want to ban. You'd have the bands that you expect the other team to go for. Because obviously, likes of Clubhouse, most people were banning that
Yeah.
Skyscraper. So if we were banning first as a team, we would purposely not ban them, and would have
Yeah.
maybe a strat prepared in case they decide to do the same thing. But we would try and force the other team to ban it to allow us to control it, and we could almost pick the map we wanted to play.
Yeah. Yeah. That's yeah, that's exactly what, like, usually when you go into the Go for, you see the band starting, you're like, up the first two bands, you're like, oh, okay, it's 100% going to be this map.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah.
So I think if it was like you obviously save some later on and the one last one and it's picked at random, it would be quite a good way to counter that. As you said, would also try and make teams expand their map pool. The one thing that really interests me, well, there's actually two things that interest me about these pro leagues. They're going to cover two DLCs. So obviously, the new map's not going to be because Ubisoft in the last year they confirmed there only is going to be two new maps this season, and the new maps never make it into Pro League anyway. So that's not the
Yeah.
problem. It's the new operators and how the meta is going to shift with them.
hmm Yeah, that's one of the things that I really just don't like about this, is because halfway through the season, teams are just gonna have to. I mean, if an operator like Mira or Hibana is introduced, they're just gonna have to completely change their strats, and yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
And yeah, no one ever watched Pro League before Mira and Habana and stuff were introduced.
Yeah,
Um, Mira completely revolutionized the game. It completely changed how you, as a defender, can defend sites. It made sites that were no longer viable more viable. So, like, you've got certain sites on, like Border and stuff. People didn't like playing Border, but with introduction here,
Hmm.
Border become almost a staple now, you know.
Yeah.
And then with Hibana, you obviously the only hard breacher you had was Thatcher to get through those metal walls, and so he was a must pick on every map. And the defending team would be spawn peeking and everything, trying to get rid of that Thatcher, because once they got rid of that Thatcher, you weren't getting through any walls. Obviously, with
Yep.
Hibana, you could now get through walls on the run, so you didn't have to get right up to it.
Hmm.
Um, get them in hatches, which means you didn't have to think, oh, I've only got 2 thermite charges. We look at the likes of some maps like
Club.
Garage. Well, because yeah, okay, Clubhouse. So you've got Clubhouse, where you've got Dirt Tunnel. You might want to put someone down there. You got to use the thermite on that. You've also got two to three hatches depending on the team reinforcing. You've got kitchen, you've got bar, and you've got stock. You know,
Hmm.
you've only got 2 utilities, but you've got 3 hatches there. Plus, you want to get Dirt Tunnel. Plus, you might want to get Church Wall. You know,
Yeah.
at least now with Abandon, you could do all that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, those operators did change how maps and sites were played in a big way. So yeah, you're right. I mean, adding the middle of the season, adding in 2 operators that could effectively shift the entire meta, and team will almost feel like teams will have to try and force that into their play.
Yeah.
You know, which could make for some lousy games, or some teams feeling like they played lousy because they had to try and force this new operator in, the counter in this other operator, things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So the other thing then that was big about these two was the 2 majors halfway through. Six Invitational has always been a separate event that teams prepared for from the end of season 3. Last year they prepared from the end of season 3 till February. This year they've prepared from the end of season 3 to February. Next year they're going to be playing games starting in December. So they're going to
Yeah.
be playing Pro League, and Invitational is going to be slap bang in the middle. Same with this new major in Paris, is going to be slap bang in the middle. They're going to be 2 months into their play. Boom, they've got a major to play. What's your thoughts on that?
Um, I think it will make the competition interesting that they have to then get up and go. I mean, for North American teams to fly the major or the Paris major, and then
Yeah,
for European teams to get up and go fly to North America for the Invitational. Um, and I think it will make it interesting the structure of the Pro League because there's probably just going to be an entire week off of no Pro League games, and then you go to the major, and then you come back and then play your Pro League games again. Um, I think it will make a difference, but I don't think it will be that big of an impact. I think it's really cool.
yeah. And the interesting thing is going to be, so right now, if a team gets knocked out, it gets first round knocked out at 6 Invitationals. Got a few weeks. They've got maybe a month or so to recompose themselves before they got to get back into Pro League. They take it back, watch the VODs, really practice, and bring it all back. With this, it's like, okay, you've been first rounded in the 6 major Paris. Your next game's next week. You don't have the luxury of doing that. You got to get right back into it and right back
Yep.
into playing games. You can't take a couple of days off or a week off to try and calm yourself. Yeah,
I think it will make competition more interesting with more
yeah,
games played.
yeah. I mean, from a viewer's perspective, it will definitely make things interesting.
Hmm.
Um, and as a player, I suppose they're just going to have to try and start working, I suppose, harder than they already do.
Yeah, I think it will help competition because there will be more VODs out there to counter strat from. So it'll force
Yeah,
teams to get better, more strats, which will be interesting.
yeah,
Um, yeah,
yeah. I agree. I completely agree with that. I think it's going to be absolutely amazing. I really like this new format. Overall, it's just as even just a viewer having a major over in Europe. I know we've had the LAN events and stuff, and unfortunately, I've never been able to go. But I mean, a major in
hmm
Paris. I'm currently in Ireland, so Paris isn't actually all that far away from me. It's a couple of hours on a plane. Um,
yeah,
it'd be really good to get to actually go to that one, because getting the 6 Invitational was almost 3 times the price of a plane ticket just to try
yeah,
and get
yeah.
to Canada, which I really wanted to do this year, but unfortunately didn't. I think it'd be good so that each continent, each of the 2 major continents, North America and Europe, have their own major cups. And then, as you said, the minors. I mean, they have said that they're going to take place through all 4 continents of Pro League. So you've got your APAC minors, you're going to have your European minors, your American and Latin American minors. That's just going to be good because it's going to bring more competition, more lands, more live events to everyone. As aside from all that, even if you don't want to go to these competitions, but you just want to sit at home, you've got so
Hmm.
much more to watch.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, so it'll be good. It's good to get the name out there. I mean, this coupled with all the new big orgs coming in, I mean, Pro League is
yeah.
looking really healthy coming right through next
Hmm.
year.
I think one of the most important things is for me, like I like to look at it compared to the way Counter Strike is run. If you're looking at Counter Strike, you've got tons of major big events. You've got Pro League running almost year round, and I think this is bringing it to the point. And with the big orgs coming in, I think the money's going to be there, and almost all Pro League teams are going to be able to play it full time. Because I mean, if you look at, I remember ENCE at one point saying that um, some of their players had part time jobs along with it, and that makes it hard to be super competitive when you've got to spend time with family, a job, and play Pro League. So
Yeah, especially in year one. I know. So Vitality going back to the was it the I don't remember what you call the documentary, but there was a documentary anyway, and they were following people like your guy from there, Furious G from Vitality, and he was saying, he was working Monday to Friday, starting about 8 o'clock, maybe getting home at 6 o'clock, having his dinner with his family, going straight on online and practicing for 8 hours solid. You're spending 9 hours, 9 to 10 hours a day in work, and then you're coming home and doing 8 hours on Rainbow Six. That's 18 hours.
yeah,
You're leaving very little time for family sleep just to try and stay competitive. Just so you could try and make some money at it and make
yeah,
competitions. But as you say, yeah, with big org stuff, more competitions, it being more is more sponsors. So you'll see a lot of
hmm,
sponsors come into events, especially these minor events. Maybe I don't know what way Ubisoft and ESL want to run sponsors for Six Invitationals, but I mean, you look at, well, there's the Boston E League Major on this weekend for Counter Strike. Um, Boost Mobile has sponsored that entire event, which means that's
yeah,
money coming from Boost. Try and to give the Pro League players a bigger prize pool, a bigger, better show for the fans, and those are the kind of things that are really going to drive Rainbow Six as a competitive esport to grow and be sustainable for these players.
yep,
Yeah,
yeah. I think it's awesome that this new money's coming in, giving more people a chance to make money doing something that they really love and are really good at, and just make it more, uh, give the game more competition.
agreed. So I think we've talked that to death. Any closing thoughts on it?
No, not really. I think that's just about it.
No problem. So some more news. There's been yet more roster changes.
Hmm. Yeah.
So first one, Mantis got picked up by a Korean team called Yeti. They're known for their LoL, League of Legends. For those who don't know, this is only a Reddit post on the R6 Pro League Reddit. Um, but put it by my whole team is dead. But if you go into the YouTube video, I'm not going to sit and play it all. But apparently, this is a game from the Challenge Korea 2018, um, Ents versus Mantis, where they are actually named Yeti. I just ruined that, but where they're playing a team called they're playing under the name Yeti. So there. Um, so that means that's pretty much confirmed that they have been picked up by them. Apparently, there was a tweet about it as well. I tried looking for it, I couldn't, unfortunately. Thoughts on New York's coming in then?
I think all the new orgs coming in is just, like super big, and I think it's like a snowball effect. The more if one big org comes in, then maybe two more come in, and then maybe three more come in, and then maybe four more. And it just keeps on going and going until every single big org's in. And yeah,
Yeah, agreed. I mean, my co-host Dante was talking about when we talked about FaZe coming in. He had mentioned obviously, who's it? I can't remember the name of them now. Was it Cryptic? No, it wasn't Cryptic. I can't remember the name. Um, them and FaZe used to have a big rivalry on Call of Duty back in the day, and he wants to see them then move into Rainbow Six and continue the rivalry through Rainbow Six.
hmm,
Good. Um, the other big um, one was Flipside. So I have ruined, as I say, my lovely update. So there we go. Flip side, put this up the other night. It was on the 23rd, so it was Tuesday. Them and their or team have split ways. Reading this here quick post that they've put up, we weren't quite sure if Flipside dropped them or if the team dropped Flipside. It did turn around to that because Vinted put up himself saying that Flipside have decided to leave their organisation. They're out looking for. And then Flipside does finish off with saying that as for our future Rainbow Six, our competitive team, we'll be looking for a new roster to wear our logo. Thoughts on Flipside and the guys parting ways?
I thought that was a really interesting, like that the team left Flipside, and I have to assume that there was problems between the team and the org. I'm not going to speculate because that just might cause drama, but
Of
it
course.
was just really, really, really interesting because Flipside's a generally big org. I mean, they show up in CS:GO a lot. Can't really. I think they're in the COD, into COD a little bit,
Yeah.
and it's yeah, it's really interesting. They abandoned a big org, so
Yeah.
hoping that for their sake that another maybe big org comes in and picks them up.
Yeah. I know he's put in there that people either looking for offers, but somebody does tell me that there is there's rumors going around that they're already in talks with another team, with another organization. Maybe this was already ongoing. I don't really know. It's I suppose it's hard to speculate. Everything we're talking
Yeah.
about. I mean, nothing's confirmed yet. It is speculation. I don't know why. Again, we don't know why they've left. Happened. It is sad to see. I was a big lover of Flipside as a team. As I said earlier, I like Pojo, and I went and bought Flipside G Fuel cup. I had it on the show last week. I think I've mentioned it 3 times now. In the last 3 weeks, but I do love Flipside. I'm quite sad to see them go.
Mm-hmm.
Last big roster change. Now, I have no evidence of this now. Unfortunately, I have nothing, no infographic to. But Elevate have left their roster.
Yeah, I was looking on the Pro League Reddit and I saw this, and then I think there's a tweet or something about it. Not 100% sure, but this one I think is like out of those three, this is the biggest one right here. Is the fact that Elevate leaves, which is Elevate's a huge team, or org, and for these players to leave, I'm hoping it means that a big team, maybe like Cloud9, you'll see come in, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to agree. Trying to get this. But yeah, no, I agree. I'm going to show now where part of this is coming from, where this is all sort of stemmed from first, so that people can see. So there we go. I've cropped it out a bit because I didn't want to show all his personal stuff. But this is Laxine's Twitter, and his bio used to say for a pro player for Elevate, but now says pro player for who knows. Skies is something similar. There was a Twitch. You said you were browsing through the Reddit and you've seen it. On the Reddit, there was a Twitch clip where Laxine did mention something about they're leaving Elevate. They will hopefully announce in New York in the coming weeks. They said towards the end of February, so probably after invitationals.
Yeah.
He then deleted the Twitch clip. Otherwise, I'd play it for you now. I don't really know why he's deleted it. Maybe he just didn't want to show bad karma to the team. The sources that I'm being told, him and the team just let their contract expire with Elevate. It wasn't that they fell out or anything. It was just a contract expired. They feel it's time to move on. The rumor mill is already starting. So some of the rumors of Cloud9 is meant to be talking to them. That's one of the rumors. The other one is I can remember their name. CounterLogic Gaming. The one that fueled the CounterLogic Gaming is Skies actually follows this guy's the in-game leader for. He follows some of the CounterLogic people on Twitter recently, so there's that rumor going around now too. But they're CounterLogic. They're quite a big team. I know for a fact Cloud9 are massive in North America for CS:GO.
Mm-hmm.
I think they also have like Rocket League teams and stuff.
Yeah.
They're two big orgs. What's your thoughts
Mm-hmm.
on that one then? For when you've spoken about your thoughts on Elevate leaving, but your thoughts on the orgs coming in?
If either of those teams come in, or orgs come in, I mean, if you look at Cloud9, they're a giant, like a monolith of NA esports. I mean, they've got a giant League of Legends team. They've got teams throughout like pretty much every single game, COD, and they've got the huge CS team. Which, I mean, if you look at the majors doing really well right now, they've made big moves. They've got a lot of money behind them, which is a huge thing. And then same thing with CLG. They've got I don't know if they still do, but they had a pretty good CS team. They have a League of Legends team. Um, and it's just really, really cool that they might be coming in, and I really, really hope that they pick up one of those picks up the X Elevate guys.
Yeah, I hope so too. I certainly don't think they would have let their contract expire if there was something else to go, or if it wasn't in their best interest. I mean, they've
Yeah.
been with Elevate since I can't remember what season they come into an Xbox, but I know they were definitely year one, season 3, so they won the Invitationals as an Xbox team.
Hmm.
So I mean, big one. So it is. It's a big one for the roster departs. So moving on to the one that you already leaked. Stephen, the Ubisoft esports community manager, put this up on their subreddit the other day, and it says, "We've been completely overwhelmed by the response to the sixth community vote. There's no denying global interest and excitement surrounding Six Invitationals. For the support we've received by the two leading teams, we're excited to inform you that we'll be inviting BRK Esports to compete in our promotional show on Saturday, February 17th. Their opponent will be revealed in the weeks." This is what you sort of touched on. You think it's absolutely fantastic to be invited in. I 100% agree with you.
Yeah, I think it's abs just completely amazing that they're going to be here and be able to play, because I think they're a really good team and they deserve to be here. Um, and you know, putting the community vote aside, I think they're the better team. But obviously, France had a lot of help in getting their team in. But I think it's really awesome that they're going to be there, and I think it's really good for the fans that are watching on the internet, on Twitch, YouTube, whatever, and then the people that are there in person to be able to see another game with a really loved team by a lot of regions.
Yeah, agreed. I wonder what the opponent's going to be. I hope it's another pro team or even an up and coming team. You know, possibly Reckless. You never know. I know the Reckless people, some of the Reckless teams are going to be at the LAN.
Hmm.
Maybe they've been given the heads up on the match. That would be quite good to see because Reckless, I feel, is maybe I don't know because they deserve to be there. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. There's so many teams that I feel deserve to be
Yeah,
there. If I
yeah.
could, I would invite everyone and just have one big, massive competition.
Hmm.
But that's what the Pro League is.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, some people saying here Vitality. Um, I that's actually VP put that up, and I replied saying yes, please. I think that would be absolutely unreal. If
Yeah.
Vitality, if they did play Vitality, but that might cause too much controversy amongst some of the fans that were causing problems at the time. Again, it's not
Yeah.
all the fans; it was just a select few that on both sides that kind of brought
Yeah.
this
I
out.
think it's a good explanation for the world as it is. There's the vocal minority, just the people that say the not cool things. They're the ones that are looked at and heard. And
Yeah,
yeah,
no, I agree.
yeah.
That's
So
just the way the world is. That's the way social media works,
yep.
unfortunately. So the next one we talked about last week, the Escalation, which was the 4-part series that was going to be put up on YouTube about Rainbow Six Pro League. Just to let you know, the first 2 episodes were put out. Um, yesterday, I believe. I think they were only meant to put out the one, which was Stay on Top, but both of them. As you can see, they're short enough episodes, but I actually found them to be quite informative.
Hmm.
Really, really good production quality in them as well, as you were saying to me on the Discord chat. Um, and I feel that they would help new players. What do you would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think it gives like new players a look into the life of a pro league player. It gives, I mean, even veteran players that haven't really talked to any of the pro league players, that just like a look into the life of how it goes and what they have to go through to be at the top.
Yeah, agreed, and it's great to see. I'm looking forward to the next two videos. The next big one is Aries. I don't know if you were maybe aware of this, but I know a few months ago, this is before I started the podcast, so I haven't actually mentioned it on the podcast. The organization Aries were going to hold a tournament to represent
Yeah.
the team, and have put out invites. So far, they have invited three teams. They haven't picked the fourth team yet. So their teams they have picked so far is going to be So On Gaming, Overtime, and I don't know. So that'll be me being the boys. So I don't know when this is all going to take place and when the fourth team will be announced, but you'll be sure to look out for that in the future as well.
Hmm. I remember hearing about this, like you said, a few months ago or whenever they first talked about it, and then kind of just like dropped off the radar and nothing was really said about it, which is really, really interesting to me. It's like weird that just like something big like this next pro league org, and then they just kind of drop off the radar.
Yeah, and personally, I think part of that might have been down to them sitting back and watching what was going on. Obviously, there was a lot of org changes, the rumors and stuff like that. I think they were sitting back and watching what was really taking place before they made their move. Um, Aries is obviously not as big as an org as of the likes of FaZe and stuff, so there's no point in them inviting teams in. It's just to walk in and snap them all up. Could be the reason. Again, speculation. They haven't said so. Um, yeah, but it's good to see BP and the boys getting some love. Overtime esports and so on. Yeah, they're all good competitive teams. And wish them all the best, and whoever the fourth team is, may best team win. The next bit of news, we've had this now. This team has been mentioned in the third or fourth episode that we've mentioned them in. First of all, we talked about them leaving. Second of all, we said not leaving Pro League, and just two members have left. But now, unfortunately, sadly, two more players have left B Genius. Um, there was two more players. First one put out was SNKY. Put out this big tweet longer, which is in French. I'm not gonna lie, I can't read French, so I translated it. But in short, because it is quite long, he talks about how he's been debating back and forth for a long time on, debating back and forth for a long time on whether or not he wants to continue. He's decided that he doesn't want to continue with B Genius. He feels that he kind of stalled a little bit, though he does say that he loves B Genius and he likes the organization. He loved the fact that they've helped him on his career, and he had lots of love for all his friends. But the one bit to note down at the very very bottom is um, today I still want to return to Pro League, but this time with different comrades, so different teams. I'm like I have very little time to decide, but this is the only period of thought that I would make the decision this year. So he's decided to take the risk, and he says, regarding my new project, I'll give you more info soon, which tells me he has a team ready, or at
Yeah.
least the basis of a team ready. Interested to see what happens there. The
Hmm.
second player then was Tipex, and he's actually turned around and left the scene altogether. Um, he's decided he's going to make a Battalion 1944 team, so he's completely leaving Rainbow Six. He said someone in French, I did quickly translate, was Fini R6, so you finished with R6, and he replied
Hmm.
going, for me, yes. Um, so yeah, he's completely gone into R6 and making Italian 1944 teams. All the best to him in his new game. I hope they are able to be competitive in it. Thoughts
Yeah.
on? You think B
Um,
Genius are done now? That's four players left. That means there's only one player remaining.
I think. if you look at, I think it all started with Shaiko,
Yes.
and I guess what happened there, and I think the team just got a. I feel that it's like the team got a lot of bad rep, um, and just didn't want to play underneath that name at least anymore, and then some of the other players might have gotten a little bit of hate because I remember back, was it season one, VWS was a team that played in the North American Pro League, and there was a player named Clever who
Yes.
I believe ended up getting banned.
Yeah.
And I'm close friends with somebody that was dating a teammate of that team, and like just the things that goes on within the team when that happens is I think could make a big like impact on the players. So moving on to a different name, I think would be good for most of the players.
Yeah. So that's, I know three of them are staying in the scene and one moved away. I kind of agree with what you're saying there. I mean, when that all come out and that happened, there was a lot of people then saying, "Oh, B Genius were only ever in Pro League because of the cheats. They were only ever any good because of the cheats." You know,
Hmm.
you go back and then you watch the six invitational brackets. B Genius made it as seed number one, I believe. They made it as seed number one in Europe. Get into the invitational playoffs. Um, and they did that without Chaco. They did that on their own.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, um, they have the talent. They are good teams, but as you said, that one instance kind of ruined the reputation of the team.
hmm yeah. And I think again, like comparing it back to the VWS thing, I think I personally saw and have talked to people that are like, oh, the team definitely knew. And from talking to the Clever or players that played with Clever, a lot of the times the teams like don't know, they don't want to know, so they like deny it, kind of like, oh no, it's not true. I don't think because they don't want it to be true,
Yeah,
and I think that a lot of the people that assume that are like, oh, they should be banned too. So yeah, I think moving along to a different team, different org, different name is important for them, and
yeah,
I think it was kind of in a way to be expected.
yeah. I think this invitation was kind of like their last ditch attempt. It was sort of like, well, let's prove that we can do it without him. And when they fell short, and again, it wasn't because there was no Shaiko, but they just fell short. They had a bad game, um, and I think everyone sort of, these rumors started coming back up. Yeah, you were only good because of Shaiko, and these
Hmm.
started playing in their head again. Maybe that's why they went. Um, but yeah, I kind of feel sad for them. Maybe
Yeah.
B Genius as an organization will pick up another team. Maybe this new team that SNKY. Oh, I can't know how to pronounce his names, but maybe that he's bringing them will be taken on by B Genius. Maybe Tipex's team for Battalion 1944 will be picked up by B Genius.
Hmm.
We don't know. Hopefully
Yeah.
the org doesn't fall apart. Um, that would be sad to see. But yeah,
Uh, yeah. I
what
think a good thing or an interesting thing to look at, which is kind of sad, is back a while ago in Counter Strike, there was a team named Titan. They're really good. They had this player named Kukli or
mhm.
Kylie or however you pronounce it. Uh, funny enough, it was actually another French team. Um, and he got banned, and the org ended up stopping supporting teams at all, like kind of disbanded itself. And it was because they put out because of the negative. Um, sorry, I'm forgetting the words from
Press.
negative press. Yes, from the entire Kukli situation, and I feel that that might come again to be Genius, which would be sad. And yeah, so.
Yeah, agreed. Let's just hope that doesn't happen. But I suppose, as with
Hmm.
anything, only
Hmm.
time's gonna tell.
Yeah.
But that is all the news we have for you, and that is all we have for this week. Have you any closing thoughts, Syntax?
No, not really.
One last thing we didn't actually get around to saying. We did talk about who you're going to make it out of each invitational. So last question: who's going to win overall?
Oh, I think there's really two teams that are, in my opinion, are the top, and I think they're Ents and Penta. But I think Penta's gonna win it all. I just think Penta's really strong. Has always looked pretty strong, and yeah.
Yeah, I think Penta as well. Talked about this last week. The team I want to win, Supremacy, but the team that will win is Penta. I think
Hmm.
with their losing season 3, but already having qualified, they've had so much more time to prepare for this than the teams that have had to go through the qualifiers. Um, some people did say that might be a disadvantage because they haven't been playing these qualifier events, they haven't been playing regular matches. But you bet your ass off they've been scrimming, they've been practicing.
Hmm.
They haven't just sat doing nothing for the last 2 months.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, so that's that. Thank you very much for coming along.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
We'll be sure to catch out your look out for your career, look out for your name coming into CSS hopefully soon.
Hmm.
So again, thank you very much for coming on. So guys, that was episode 4 of the Rainbow Six Pro League podcast. Just want to go one through one last thing here. You can follow us on Twitter at r6_podcast, on YouTube on r6 space podcast, and SoundCloud r6 space podcast. We will also be adding on iTunes and others that people requested on Reddit. Thank you very much for watching. Good night.